All right, we're good to go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is Wednesday evening. This is a pop-up episode. Obviously, it is not Sunday night, but if you're listening to this on Sunday, getting ready for the game, then you have come to the right place. Myself, TJ Pinder, alongside Richie Barnes. Richie, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I like that new intro music for this pod only being our Sweet 16 special. You know, we got a big game with Michigan, a revenge game from that 2018 Elite 8 matchup. So really excited. You know, we'll touch a little bit on Colorado towards the end of this, but y'all have heard it already. You're just here for my basketball minute at that point, and I'm really excited about we have a great guest today to preview this Michigan game. It should be a great one.
Yeah, a sweet episode. See what I did there? Double Fries No Slaw brought to you by Guthrie's in Tallahassee. Visit both their locations at 1818 West Tennessee Street and 2550 North Monroe and get your gut box Double Fries No Slaw. I will bring on our guest just really quickly here and we'll get this started. Seth Fisher from MGO Blog. Seth, how you doing up there in Michigan this evening?
Oh, it's a beautiful night, man. You know what we say in Michigan? March comes in like a lion, goes out like the lion. So
we'll try not to give you too hard of a time. I'm based in Tampa, Florida, and Richie's just right down the street in Orlando. So we're riding high, at least with our professional football team and how we feel about the NFL right now. So we won't give you too hard of a time on that.
Hey, you got our guy, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I had a class with him once, actually.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't have any memories of it because he never came, but like I had a class with
him. He was on the roster.
He was the quarterback at Michigan. He got away with a few things.
Sounds like me. I was a sport management major at Florida State, and there was a lot of athletes on the class roster that I didn't see very often, but shout out to Coach Ham. The basketball players typically did show up, so you know that's one thing he's big on.
He runs a little bit tighter of a ship on that. For sure. Okay, so Double Fries No Slaw. We try to loosen everybody up when we get started. Our college, inebriated at 1 a.m. spot is Guthrie's. There's a line like all the way down Tennessee Street. I don't know if you've ever been to Tallahassee, but like the main strip in Tallahassee, there's a line all the way down the road. Drive-through takes half an hour at that point, that late at night. It's still where everyone goes because it's the only thing open. But it's good at noon. Like Zaxby's came out of Guthrie's, Raising Cane's came out of Guthrie's. Like all these spinoffs are essentially Guthrie's knockoffs. What is that spot up in Michigan? Like not necessarily fried chicken, but just like
I mean, you don't even want to start with Ann Arbor because like there's so many of them. There's just so much. I mean, B2B, that's a Big Ten burrito. That's like the place where you can go. Like if you really just need to like soak up a lot of that alcohol right then. My favorite place is always Blimpie's. That's a place where you order burgers by the slice, so they can tell them how many patties you want, and if you order less than 5, they're gonna make fun of you. And they give you a really hard time too. Like, what do you have? What do you have? What you order in your mouth, your money in your hand. What do you have? What do you have?
That's awesome. Now I just want a cheeseburger. I don't know about a 5x5, but like I kind of want a cheeseburger now.
Dude, the Midwest, I'm surprised we haven't gone up in a grease fire yet. You put Michigan next to Wisconsin and Indiana and Ohio, it could get bad.
That's incredible. We've got to get a home and home scheduled so that we can try those things.
We do, man. I'm so sick of playing like Southwest Mac School or whatever. We've used up every direction in Michigan. I'm ready for like. We were talking about doing an Arkansas game, and then that got canceled, and then we were going to go to Washington last year, and I was like so stoked about that, like sailgating and whatnot, and that got canceled. So
you say that now, but Florida State, we have games with LSU, Georgia, Alabama, all coming up in the next decade, home and homes for most of them.
Yeah, but we'll probably
sounds good when we signed them, but I don't know about now.
No disrespect to Michigan's football program, but like I'd much rather play Michigan than any of those teams right now. We got LSU coming up next, not this year, not 2021, but LSU next year. I'm like, oh, they'll have rebounded by then. And then we go to Georgia. Oh, okay, great. Like this is perfect. Just what we need. So, but we brought you on to talk a little hoops. We've got a Sweet 16 matchup coming up in a few days. Richie's our hoops expert. So Richie, I'll let you start us off, but let's talk some Sweet 16 basketball, boys.
Yeah, I'm excited, and you heard me at the intro there. The last time we played was that 2018 Elite Eight game, and that was a great game, low scoring. It could be an omen of what we could see. But the big story for Michigan right now is Isaiah Livers, right? He's integral part of Michigan's roster. It doesn't sound like he's going to be available this weekend.
No.
And, Michigan's kind of struggled a little bit without him compared to the start of the season with him. What are they losing with him, and how is the team adjusting to life post Livers for now, at least?
I mean, he's your team leader. He's also like one of the best perimeter defenders, and he's also like your best 3-point shooter. So like stretching everything out and like creating the space that everyone needs. He's really important for that. But especially defensively, like he would not, Livers would not screw up things on the perimeter. And having that guy out, they're kind of stuck with the dudes they have. They are trying to find something. They've got a guy, Brandon Johns, who was kind of underused all year. And now we're seeing more kind of what he can do, like whether his confidence can hold up. They're trying some other things, but I mean, it's a big loss, especially, when you lose your big 3-point shooter, and that's the guy that you kind of count on to put enough down to keep you in things when you're, I don't know. Livers is such a great player, but Michigan's pretty deep. Like we go from being a team that I felt pretty confident we could go up against anybody to a team that's like, a match for FSU.
Yeah, and you kind of stole my thunder a little bit mentioning Brandon Johns there, because I was going to ask, who outside of Hunter Dickinson does Florida State need to keep an eye on? So you guys have two freshmen really that you're going to be leaning on right there, and diehard Florida State basketball fans know Hunter Dickinson very well. We were in the thick of it in his recruitment. He officially visited Florida State, ends up at Michigan, obviously, and he's just been outstanding as a freshman there. Just talk about his game and how you think he matches up. I'm not sure how much you've watched Florida State this year, but we have a Serbian Balsa Koprivica that's going to have the matchup to start the game. If he can stay out of foul trouble, that's been an issue for him. But man, Hunter Dickinson, over 60% from the field on the season so far. He doesn't shoot threes, but he does a lot inside. Just talk about what he's brought to Juwan Howard's offense and defense this year in his first season at Michigan.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can watch FSU all day, but you guys substitute so much. I still can't figure out who's on that team. But Hunter Dickinson. We've been so surprised. Like we thought. I don't know if you remember the game from 2018. We had Teskey back then, coming off the bench. But another 7-footer is pretty athletic, and has really surprised us with how well he can actually get out there. Like they don't have to put him in drop coverage every time, right? He can actually get out there and take on some guards. I wouldn't say he's a switchable guy, but certainly has the athleticism to kind of stay in. And you put him at the rim against anybody, it's he's legitimately 7'1", maybe closer to 7'2", and he's just going to bully anybody smaller. We feel like FSU is kind of a bad matchup because we had a game with Illinois this year. I know they kind of dogged out in the playoffs, but Kofi Coburn is he's a heck of a guy as a defender, and another big dude who can kind of single up Hunter. But Hunter, man, this year he came in, he was scoring in the you couldn't stop him singled up. Minnesota started doubling him. That was our big loss in the middle of the year, and then he figured out how to pass out of that, and then we were just raining in threes. And that kind of, we go back to Livers, like that's one of the things you kind of lose if we're not willing to take those 3-pointers out there. That kind of takes away from the fact that Dickinson can get the ball out too. Now his assist percentage is not very high, but if they counted hockey assists, it would be, right? Because those go out of the post and then they go around the horn and then somebody takes an open shot. But if you watch Michigan's 3-point percentage, it's gone way up, and the amount that they take has gone way up since about mid-season when he became a much better passer. Fortunately, he's not a complete NBA athlete, so we might actually get to keep him around for a little bit. But he's kind of the engine that makes it go, and kind of why we're worried about Florida State, because if you guys can single him up, that kind of takes away from the main offensive creation for Michigan.
Yeah, and like you said, he's not really on anyone's draft radar right now, but he's one of those guys, just an outstanding college player that if he does stick around, I'm sure Ohio State and Big Ten fans all over will be just extremely upset, because he's one of those guys you don't want to have to face. But But, looking at you guys' tournament run so far, you got your first round win over 16 Texas Southern, and then you played a scrappy but, capable LSU team who took Alabama to the wire, a week before. But you guys haven't really been truly tested. LSU played a good game, so I don't want to discount anything, especially in the tournament this year with all the upsets we see. And I'm sure your friends in Columbus are not happy with Oral Roberts right now. But outside of Livers, how's the health of your team? Because Florida State, Scotty Barnes, MJ Walker, both really banged up, and this 5-day rest is going to be huge for them. How big is this rest for Michigan, or is it just nice to have the extra rest as luxury? As Florida State, it's kind of a necessity for us.
Not really make a difference for them, I don't think. They're, Michigan's pretty healthy. Ankle here or there. You play basketball. Nobody's healthy at this time of season. It's just, how much you can play through and whatnot. But I think Michigan's fine as far as that's concerned. I don't know if the time off is going to change anything with them. Maybe working a few more things with Brandon Johns, get him a little more comfortable because they weren't expecting to have him playing such a big role. And the other guy is Terrence Williams. You haven't seen much of him this year, but he's a kind of a big power forward, not super tall, but switchable guy. Has not at all been able to throw down 3-pointers, and so he's been kind of a black hole on defense or on offense. But he's got, if you're recruiting Hunter Dickinson, you probably saw Terrence Williams play a few times too because they were on a team together, and they've got a pretty good chemistry from that. So, I like to see him out there with Hunter a little bit. Probably spend this time getting him involved in the rotation a little bit more and kind of figuring out what you're going to be post-Livers because they didn't really get a break, right? Like we lost him in the Big Ten tournament. We had to play that, and we went right into the tournament. And like you said, not tested that much, but LSU is just a weird team. You watch basketball. LSU is not coached. It's just
that's so true.
We're just watching those guys. Please just contest this. We're shooting a 3. Just come on out here. And we played Texas Southern, but that was just a dumb. That was just 116. That's not really a game. I think that was by Ken Palm. That was our worst game all season. So, or our worst opponent all season. So, yeah, the test, but man, we went through the Big Ten. That was obviously not Final Four caliber, but they were at least second round caliber, right?
And not a great showing by the Big Ten or the ACC. Obviously, we have Syracuse, who's a 12 seed, who a lot of people thought should not have gotten in.
No.
I watch a lot of Syracuse basketball. My dad's from upstate New York, so he was a huge Orange fan, and Buddy Boeheim, man. But that's another story for another day. Yeah. But you touched on Ken Palm. So what's wild to me, Michigan is top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, but they don't create a lot of turnovers, which is what Florida State's kryptonite has been the past month or so. So how is Michigan's defense so good? Do they just wear you down, make you work, and force bad shots? Because, man, looking at the numbers, it doesn't match up, with some of the stats per se, which is why I love the advanced metrics.
All right, so number 1, Franz Wagner. That's our if you remember the 2018 game, that's his little brother. And Franz is he should have been the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten. It was actually ludicrous that he wasn't on the Big Ten, all Big Ten defensive team, because he is, as a help defender, I think he's listed right now as 9th in the draft, and he can shoot from outside. But this guy, he's a legit 6'10". He grew a couple inches this year. He's still really young, but he has grown into such a problem. So you can't get to the rim because we already got Hunter Dickinson there, right? And then you add Franz, and then you add some of the perimeter guys. And then they have short guards. So the guards kind of run you off the 3-point line. And then the bigs will keep you away from the rim. And so you just end up taking a lot of pull-up jumpers because what's available? Well, you got a 5'11" guard on you. If you start driving on him, he's going to drop back. And then you've got a 2-point shot. So we basically force a lot of, inefficient shots. And then, once in a while you run into a team that's good at that or run into a team that just happens to make them. That was why we were terrified of LSU because, they don't care what quality of shot they get. And he's just getting a shot up. And that's kind of scares me about FSU too, is the big guards because, you're going to get a clean look even if you're guarded. We're just going to run you off the 3 line. We're going to, fight over screens. And then just getting to the rim is hell. You you cannot get to the rim against Michigan.
Let me unmute here. One of our fans, listeners, I was just going to ask you what worried you the most about FSU. One of our listeners wanted to know that if Jabril Peppers was going to play in this game. That's a little.
He's got a thigh injury that he's kind of working through.
I don't know if you remember that, but we've joked about that for years. Anytime anything comes up with Michigan, one of the FSU fans put together like a montage of the 2016.
Yeah, 2017 Orange Bowl, but 2016 season,
Yeah, they put together a montage of how many times they brought up Jabril Peppers' names, and it was like 50 times during the game. like Steve Levy was doing the call. Like they just had nothing else to talk about. It was a fantastic game. The game was so good, like down to the last second. And like they brought up Jabril Peppers like 50 times, and it was just so funny. So anyway, like our fans have thought that was the funniest like inside joke for years. So thank you for humoring us here. What is the biggest weakness that if FSU is going to attack that they can try to attack to win against Michigan? Like, is there something defensively that Michigan does that is kind of a problem? I mean, obviously they're very solid being a number 1 overall seed, but like where if Florida State's going to win this game, how are they going to do it? What's going to go?
They're going to win at 50-44. So Florida State's going to win this game. I mean, I'm really kind of up in the air. Like I see Florida State's pretty. I see some weaknesses that I know Michigan's going to attack, but Florida State's they're well coached. They just got so much size. I think they're number 1 in KenPom in size, in fact, and. Like just the fact that you'll be able to single up on Dickinson, and you got a second center in that deep pile of backups that you guys like to play, and so like being able to do that and just keep Hunter Dickinson from from being doubled and creating all those open shots. And the other thing is you guys tend to just flash us at the guard spots. I was watching the game against UNC, and that was what scared me about that game because like Illinois was doing the same thing. They just had so much size at the guard positions and so much athleticism out there. And they just Michigan could never get into their sets, right? Like they could not create any action at the top of the key. And when Michigan can't do that, like all of that coaching that's kind of holding them up kind of falls by the wayside. So Michigan's athleticism is not like super on par. We got like 1 draft pick, and that's Franz, right? And that's the 6'10" guy. Brandon Johns may play his way into that in a couple of years or something, but Eli Brooks is he's a smart guy. He knows where he needs to be, and like he's an important guy to the team because he can put down his threes. But like he's not super athletic, and Mike Smith, he comes out of the Ivy League and still sometimes thinks he can pass like he did against the Ivy League. And so, like, he goes up against LSU, and you saw he had a bunch of turnovers there, and that's kind of concern against FSU, obviously. And, we have our big defensive guy off the bench is Shawnee Brown, who's big for us against LSU. He's going to have to be big for us against FSU again, too, I think, because we just don't have the size otherwise. So that's how you beat Michigan. Like, they just outsize us, out-athleticism us, and, if you can take away all the cool things that, NBA coaches do, then that you can take us away.
Yeah, man, it sounds like it could be much like that 2018 game where it was 58-54.
We're the same teams. We built the same teams again. You guys built a bunch of towers. We got another 7-foot guy and some small guards, and dude, let's go again.
well, trust me.
Run it back.
And I hate saying anything negative about like college players because they're college kids, right?
Yeah.
Our backup 7-footer Ngom, if he plays more than 7-8 minutes, we're in trouble because that means Balsa is in foul trouble. And I was watching that Colorado game, and when he fouled out, it was a clear instance where Colorado's big, had the ball inside, had leverage. It was an easy layup. You got to let it go. He fouls him, and Hamilton is just like staring daggers at him like, what are you thinking doing this? So I will say after the game, it's nice because when I was at Florida State 2006, 2000 to 2010, we didn't make the tournament my first 2 years. We were on like a 10, 12-year drought, and we made it. We celebrated like we had just won a national title. But then we beat Colorado by 18 in the round of 32, and nobody celebrated. We like walked off the court, and I'm like, man, are we a basketball school now? Because our football team can't do anything. But I don't know if you're much of a sporting man, but I've been watching this Vegas line, and it's interesting, man. Michigan opened favored 3.5. It dropped to 3. It's down to 2 right now. We'll do some score predictions at the very end here, but are you surprised that the line's moving in Florida State's favor? And obviously, we still have a couple days to where, most of the sharps, they either got on it already or they're going to wait to see what the line looks like probably Saturday night, Sunday morning.
So anytime you're gambling on Michigan, you have to deal with the fact that there's dumb Michigan fans out there. So and we outnumber the sharps. So we get excited about our team. We had a good game. All of a sudden, the Michigan line's going to go way up, just because we're dumb. We're that dumb. And then eventually they have to move the line because we're buying. And they move the line sometimes just knowing that that market is out there, because Michigan fans are legion. So I never trust a line with Michigan. I learned that lines actually matter watching other teams, because I always knew that about Michigan, that they don't worry about the line unless you know what they're actually trying to entice. So right now Michigan fans are Livers is gone, grumble, LSU was close. So I bet you it's just that. I don't know the Sharks, and I don't know what they're looking at. I don't think there's any inside information going around or anything, but that's probably what it is.
Yeah. Is there speaking on that, what is the Michigan, the pulse, the beat, what is the Michigan fan mindset going into this? Is it concerned because Livers is out and Florida State won? Because I'll tell you, before I let you answer, when Florida State struggled, they game was never really in doubt, but it's kind of struggled with UNC Greensboro, and Colorado blew out a Georgetown team that at one point this year was 8-9, it was a cute
that Georgetown team just got.
It was a cute story with Ewing, but come on, they said we're one and done, right? We beat UNC Group, but Colorado's going to shoot the lights out. They're going to kill us. It's not even going to be close. And then we mopped the floor with them, and they didn't hit any shots. It was just okay. Is that how Michigan fans are too? Are they negative about this matchup because the LSU game was close?
Here's the meanest thing I can say about FSU. You're exactly like us.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well, good. Hopefully they're right. Richie.
But we got football coming up, right?
Yeah.
We were talking off
Spring
there.
game.
Richie doesn't feel this way, but it's if we lose on Sunday night, I'm going back up to Tallahassee in a week and a half for the spring game. So it's Richie doesn't feel that way, but I'll soak my wounds with
actually on that note, Seth, I have a question for you, because we posed a question to our fan base a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, and it was Florida State in general. Would you rather Florida State basketball make the Final Four this year, or the football team make it to a New Year's Six Bowl this coming season? And I was one of the only people who said, I want the Final Four. All other fans screw basketball. We want a New Year's Six game, even if it's 9-3 playing Houston and Atlanta.
I'm a little confused. I think you mentioned there's football after the Ohio State game. I'm not aware of any such thing existing.
Well, we have a middle bowl game.
Is that
a
Rose Bowl? I've heard of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, no.
The last time either team was good was when they played each other, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Miami.
Yeah, in Miami for that game. Richie said he'd take the Final Four. I said I would take the and my answer is even more solidified because we've made the Sweet 16. We were a top 10 to 15 team in the country this year. We made the Sweet 16. I just need Florida State to not go 4-8 next year in football. So if you're guaranteeing me the Sweet 16 and a New Year's Six Bowl, great. We were top 16 in both sports. If not, we're going to go to the Final Four in basketball, and we're going to go 4-8 in football. My answer is very much let's be good in both.
I mean, I think Michigan fans, I can't speak for all Michigan fans because, like I said, we're legion and we're dumb. But they are kind of feeling this season, we got the Big Ten championship, so we got a banner for this year already. Without Livers, we kind of fell to more of a 4 seed than a 1 seed. So I think that Michigan fans are pretty, okay, if we want to win this game really bad. But, I mean, to save the football program, especially, I would just ask win over Ohio State, and it's an easy question, right? We'll take a win over Ohio State over a national championship in basketball any day. Yeah. I apologies to all the super basketball dudes, and I mean really, really love this basketball team, and man, like I'm getting so much more pleasure out of the basketball program these last 10 years than I have out of football in that period. But I mean, seriously, we just want to beat Ohio State so bad right now. It's so long.
Yeah.
So I have one more, and I'll kick it to TJ. Then we'll get into maybe some score predictions. I don't know if it's too early in the week for that for you, but I've been thinking about it. But it is wild to think that we have Michigan, Florida State, and probably Alabama as the most likely to come out of this region. All football schools. But we talked a little bit off air about Juwan Howard. What does it mean to have him back in Michigan? And the cool thing, he played for Leonard Hamilton the year that Hamilton was coaching at the Washington Wizards, or I think they're the Bullets still at the time. So there's some familiarity there. So I'm hoping, going back to the football flavor, it's that Nick Saban and his assistants type vibe to where, Juwan Howard just can't beat the his old head coach. So,
well, basketball, man, it's everyone's 6 degrees from Juwan Howard right now. Like he knows everybody. So, and Leonard Hamilton, he's been around forever. So I'm sure he's the same, right? Like his bench is just, that's half of basketball right there. But like Juwan, man, I mean, I was just like 11, 12 years old for the Fab Five. So that is like right in that sweet spot when you like just become a huge fan. And so, like, I love those teams, man. I was, such a fan of those teams, and I to the point where like I had like they didn't have bobbleheads back then, but I had like a Sports Illustrated magazine like on my wall as a kid growing up with the Fab Five. So like just that, like bringing that era back is great. And then, I mean, to lose Beeline and like feel like you almost maybe got better at coaching. It's like what? How did this happen? So yeah, I mean he's got like the number one recruiting class in the country right now. Everybody loves him except for Maryland, and I don't. What? Can you guys tell me who those people are? Because you like dumped them off on us Big Ten people, and we're like, here, have Maryland, and we're like, they only talk about Duke. Like, who are these people?
So when they were in the ACC, and this includes Miami, and this is saying a lot. They had the worst fans in the conference by far, and nothing felt better. The last year, 2013, that they were in the ACC, they came into Tallahassee ranked 25th overall, and we beat them 63-0 in football. And then in the ACC basketball tournament, we eliminated them at the buzzer to send them off. So it could not be better. And I don't dislike many teams outside of of the rivals, but Maryland's one team I will never root for ever. I don't know about you, TJ, but that's all I felt.
Somebody put the other day, like it's always on Twitter and stuff, and we live on there, right? So somebody put like, what's the first thing you think of when you see this logo? And it was the Maryland football, or just the Maryland M, and I just put 63-0. Like it was the best. It was the best going away present that the football team gave anyone. Their last ACC game against us. They were ranked number 25. A lot of people were calling for upsets that day. Kirk Herbstreit put us on like upset alert.
A lot of people on the Florida State beat put us on upset alert.
Yeah, 63-0. So that was fantastic. Yeah, nobody likes Maryland. Hunter doesn't even like Maryland. Very good.
And he's an NC State guy.
Yeah, he knows. All right, Richie, let's do some predictions. Let's stop wasting Mr. Seth's time here today. But we appreciate you for hanging out. And
so I'm loving it. so, like I said, you're just like us.
I was gonna say it's all self-deprecating because we're having a great time too.
Nothing's happened since the late '90s, right? Like that was the end of history right there.
So Seth, as the guest of honor, would you like to go first or last on these predictions here?
I'm just gonna look up KenPom and give you the score there. So,
all right, let's kick us off. So we did a before the tournament started, TJ and I, we did a kind of a mega pod with a couple other Florida State podcasts just to preview the whole tournament. And I actually, my final thoughts before I had to jump off to watch the Bachelor finale was that Florida State would beat Michigan in the Sweet 16 in a narrow game. And I think I said I had us losing to Alabama in the next round. I'm not sticking with the Alabama prediction, but for now, I think it's a true coin flip. Vegas 2-point spread. I'm a homer. I'm not going to pick against Florida State. So don't take this as betting advice, people. This is my opinion, even though I am going to bet on Florida State. I think it's a good, close game. Lower scoring than it normally would be, but still higher than probably the last time. So I'll say Florida State 67, Michigan 65. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, I don't think we win this game. I hate to be a homer. I said on that big preview pod that I didn't think we got past Michigan. I think that there's a path for us to be able to beat them. And if we play like we did in the second half against Colorado, then sure. I mean, but you're kind of hoping that we play like we did in the second half against Colorado and Michigan plays like they did in the first half against LSU, right? Like you're just hoping for like the most perfect of scenarios, which could happen. I mean, basketball is weird and crazy things happen, but I think Michigan wins this probably really, really close, like Vegas is saying. Say we get a little closer than last time, but it's a 3-point loss instead of 4. So give me 69-66, Michigan. Yeah, break this tie for us, Seth.
I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but 65-61 Florida State, and Michigan fans are bitching like crazy about the refereeing afterwards.
No. This is a reverse jinx, and I don't like it.
Like you said,
TJ with the reverse jinx, and then Seth one-upped him.
If it makes you feel better, we bitch about the refereeing after wins, too.
No,
so we're going to do that anyway. That's the easiest bet there.
Like you said, we're the same. Our fans are already complaining about the refs, and the game's 4 days away. Yeah.
Conspiracy.
Don't worry,
Conspiracy.
Yeah. Like the media is already crafting a narrative. Like the media hates us. The refs hate us. The ACC hates us. The Big Ten hates us. Like, no one hates anyone more than, everyone hates Florida State, according to our fan base. So just get ready for it. So, Seth, where can people find your work? I know we shout out MGO blog or MGO blog.
Yeah, mgoblog.com, or if you can figure out how it's pronounced, Musopagon. I've never even figured out what my Twitter handle is. But it's that. And, we're going to be covering basketball a whole bunch. I'll put out a team sheet on FSU you guys are probably interested in, and we'll hopefully be coming back and talking about one of us beating Alabama in a week, right?
Hopefully.
I'm all about it. Yeah, no, they're too good in everything else. Yeah. So like if you guys beat us, like go ahead and take care of them.
Honestly, I'd rather be facing Alabama than FSU, just because they're a team that is coached, right? Like Nate Oates has figured out that you do not take short twos. You just everything at the rim or everything from 3. And I saw that game against Arkansas where like they just went to the rim every time either way, and they just kept on turning the ball over or getting blocked, and like coach said, go to the rim, we're going to the rim. And we both have really good rim protection, so that feels to me like that's kind of as far as Alabama can get is one of these two teams.
And that's real quick. I heard the ridiculous story, and I know it's true, but in practice, he has like all mid-range jumpers are only worth 1 point in his practices because he teaches them you either score at the basket or shoot a 3-pointer. That's all they do. They're at the basket or they're shooting threes because he does not want people shooting mid-range jumpers. So it's wild to me. And my wife is a diehard Alabama fan. She doesn't watch basketball, but she's been watching the tournament. So I cannot have Alabama beat Florida State. If we beat Michigan, I'll be so exhilarated, and then if we lose to Alabama and I have to listen to my wife, man, that will really suck.
But that's the Warriors approach, right? I mean, it's just a total NBA approach to the mid-range, getting rid of the mid-range game. I mean, it's not bad.
It's smart basketball, yeah.
So, but with our, like you said, with our rim protectors and athleticism and length, like if that was somebody that we had to go up against, like let's roll and then get our heads beat in by Gonzaga. So, Seth, thank you so much for hanging out. I would say good luck, but I don't really mean it. But I hope everybody. I just hope both teams have fun. And
that's
that's all we
play an injury-free game, and everybody has a good time.
Everybody has a good
Let's
time.
just make a deal right now. Whoever loses is going to support the other team about our ref complaints. All right, we're all agreeing that there's a conspiracy against both these teams. We're in.
We won. We upset number 1 team Michigan, but those refs were really crappy.
Those are
Teddy Valentine off of COVID protocol. What's going on?
What's going on here? So, thank you so much, Seth, for hanging out, man. You have a good one.
Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Richie.
Thanks, Seth.
See you, buddy. Seth Fisher of MGO Blog. He was awesome, man. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was.
Somebody sent me a couple of – I got 2 recommendations for Michigan guys to reach out to. I'm not going to say the other guy's name because I don't want to give him any any like airtime, but I will text it to Seth and see like what he thinks about him. But I got 2 recommendations on guys to reach out to, and one guy he never hit me back. Like, usually like kind of if you say somebody like, hey man, can you follow me so I can DM you? Like one guy, Seth, responded, the other guy didn't. So I unfollowed the other guy back, and I'm never talking to him again. Like, anyway, so what a jerk. So Seth was awesome. Appreciated him coming on. I'm excited for the game, man. I'm glad that I am actually going to be in Sarasota for it. So I'm going to be at a bar, distance, of course. Like, don't freak out at me if you're watching this, but I'm going to be at a bar and checking it out with some friends. So I'm excited for it for sure. What I'm also excited for is the best part of this show. And this might be the best segment of this best part of this show ever. Let's just get right into it. I'm not going to preview it. This is the best one I think you've ever done, but Richie Barnes's basketball minute.
Following a first-round win over UNC Greensboro, Florida State took on the round of 32 and the Colorado Buffaloes with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. The first half was more painful to watch than reruns of recent Nick Cage movies, with both teams combining for a whopping total of 44 points. While the Hambones couldn't seem to get anything going on the offensive end, their hellacious defense had the Buffaloes looking as if they were hit with a tranquilizer on the opening tip. In the first 20 minutes, the Junkyard Dog defense looked more like a pastry shop, forcing 11 Colorado turnovers. During an 8-minute span in the first half, both teams would combine for a total of 0 points, making Skip Bayless's high school career seem beyond prolific. The start of the contest wasn't made any easier on the eyes thanks to the 3 blind mice dressed in black and white, but I'm not playing the ref guy, so I digress. The first half would prove to be nothing more than a cold, stale appetizer, leaving everyone involved hopeless, but little did we know the executive chef had his attention turned on the entree, a nice big serving of some grilled bison. While the hobbled MJ Walker struggled with the ball in his hands most of the night, he was clearly lobbying for an endorsement deal with Amex based on how many charges he would take in the game, and you better believe they came at a high interest rate. Then, with a 1-point lead with 11 and a half minutes to play, it was Sadar Calhoun who hopped on his pogo stick and got a mile high, throwing down a tomahawk chop, alley-oop dunk, assisted by the Scottie Pippen Barnes, igniting Florida State's offense like the starter on a Weber grill, leading to a 7-0 run by the good guys. But the star of this show would be none other than junior guard Anthony Polite, who would be the antonym of his last name as far as the Buffs were concerned, scoring 14 of his career-high 22 points in the second half as the Tribe was out on a hunt, found their prey, slaying and stuffing Ralphie along the way. Noles win in blowout fashion, 71-53, leaving Seminole fans everywhere yelling how sweet it is for the 3rd straight NCAA tournament, setting the stage for a revenge game Sunday evening against a Michigan team that narrowly ended the Tribe's run at the Final Four in 2018. And don't you dare think Big Daddy Ham has forgotten about that one. Back to you, TJ.
Fantastic. Like I said, the best one yet.
Don't let us win Sunday. Don't let us win Sunday.
And we might have to do a reaction show. It'll be an elite reaction show. We just got a comment asking about Michigan FSU preview. We just wrapped up with Seth Fisher to answer your question. So we're live right now. We're wrapping up in like 5 minutes, and then you'll be able to watch the entire episode. So if you're just tuning in because Seth just retweeted us, he's got 1 billion followers. As soon as we wrap up, you'll be able to watch the whole thing. It'll be live. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, where we are here on Twitter. Richie, great second half. First half was a little worrisome at times, but great second half for FSU against Colorado, and the boys get the job done to move on to the Sweet 16. Like I said, again with Seth, a lot of people say we're going to be one and done. Seeing how Colorado played, different story on Monday night. Weird nights with the tournament this year.
Yeah, man. So we've played really one complete half of offensive basketball, and that was the second half against Colorado. And, shout out Anthony Polite, 14 points in the second half. We needed somebody to step up. MJ and Scotty are banged up a little bit. Hopefully they're close to healthy come Sunday against Michigan. Polite stepped up. Balsa's been a huge asset for this team, but he couldn't stay out of foul trouble. He fouled out in the game. We talked about it with Seth, how Ham just stared him down like, what are you doing? Give up that layup and don't draw the foul. But one thing that's been a constant for really 4 halves in this first for 2 games is this defense. They have just completely shut teams down. And that's what I love about the tournament, right? In ACC play, it's a little different, especially in the ACC tournament, because you've played these teams, you've scouted them, you know what they are. On the scouting report for teams like Greensboro and Carolina, look at both of them. Their offenses were horrible to start because you hear about the length and how we got to beat it. But hearing about it and actually having to face it are two completely different things. And I love that Florida State was able to play horribly offensively in that first half and still just smother a Colorado team that had dropped 96 points two nights prior. So if that defense shows up for two halves like it has for the previous four halves of the tournament, I feel really good about our chances. I know you picked Michigan to win in a very narrow game. I'm on Florida State. I think if we do win, and I expect us to, it's going to be the defense. They're not prepared for this. If Michigan just hits a bunch of threes early, that could be it for Florida State, because at that point, that's the great equalizer. But if the Florida State defense continues to show up the way it has, because defense travels, our offense clearly doesn't. I feel like our chances, but like I said, I think it'll be a really close game. Very happy. Leonard Hamilton was very happy with how the team looked and their demeanor after the game. Like I mentioned, they didn't celebrate the win. They're like, okay, they expected it. They win, they move on. And I think Hamilton's very happy with the mindset of this team, because they're not satisfied. There wasn't a lot of players on the team, on the current team that lost to that Michigan team. MJ Walker was there. Leonard Hamilton remembers, man. And I think in his mind, this is a game he wants very badly.
I think he knows if he wins this, I don't think we would be favored against Alabama, but the spread might even be closer. Not that Alabama is 100% locked to win, but they should win. So
that's my lock of the weekend, by the way, Alabama -6.
Sounds like you guys should be on the other side of that lock then, because of Richie's betting history on this show. I think this game is massive. And there really shouldn't be a ton of pressure on this. Michigan's, they're not favored by a ton, but they're favored to win this game. They're the 1 seed. They're the ones that everybody expects. I think that Florida State should be able to go out and play loose, and certainly, hopefully that benefits them, right? If the defense can come out and play strong and they can get timely shots from Polite, and MJ can keep from turning the ball over, and Boston can stay out of foul trouble. There's a lot of ifs, don't get me wrong, but if those things can happen, and they've happened several times this year, Florida State can come out and win this game. They can win it close. They can win this game by 10. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to get to the other side of it, because I'm nervous. And then, we'll get in the Elite Eight and see what can happen from there. So I like it a lot. I like this show a lot. I don't know. I'm fumbling over my words because I can't figure out who and what's going on. So, any closing thoughts before we get out of here, man? I'm just ready for the game.
Yeah, I'm just excited. 2 more days of work, and then I got to go all day Saturday. I'm sure the wife's going to give me a bunch of housework, which is fine. And then Sunday, it's just waiting I'm just happy we play at 5 and not like 7 or 9 o'clock, because, the old man Richie likes to go to bed early. So by 5 o'clock game, if we do win, I'm going to hop on and do an instant with or without you, TJ, because that'll be at like 7:30, which is about my bedtime normally. But I'm just excited for this game. I think it's a game we can win. I truly think it's a legitimate coin flip. And, I think the experience Florida State has benefits them. Like I said, Michigan's best 2 players that are available are both freshmen. We'll see what happens, but it's March. Nobody knows. Like, this tournament's had more upsets than we've ever seen before. I'm just excited for a chance to watch this in our 3rd straight Sweet 16. Most likely would be our 4th straight if we had a tournament last year.
We are super excited for the game. Before the game on Sunday, we are going live again early. We are going live around noon. I try not to give out any hints or previews of things to come, but I'll just say we have another FSU coach coming on, another FSU head coach coming on the program with us. Tune in Sunday at noon. There will be very little basketball preview in that, because the basketball game will be happening hours later, and we don't want it to be just basically irrelevant information once the game tips off. So the show will be focused on the interview with the coach, what's gone on in Florida State sports this weekend. I'm going up to Tallahassee on Saturday to watch baseball. So we'll talk softball, baseball. We'll talk some spring football. Very little basketball again on Sunday. Don't tune in Sunday looking for a bunch of Michigan preview. If something major has happened, of course, we will bring it to you, but we will have an interview again with a coach on FSU staff right now, on a head coach in FSU's athletic program. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it, but it's been confirmed. It's been confirmed for like a week. So we'll see how it goes.
And we wanted to get this out because one, if we recorded Sunday, we'd be recapping the Colorado game from 6 days ago. We didn't want to do that, and we also wanted to preview Michigan with a Michigan expert to give you guys time to listen to it. Because if you're like me, I can't always watch live or listen to the podcast the day it drops. I have to listen to it sometimes 2-3 days later. So if you wake up Saturday morning, Sunday morning, this is the podcast you want to listen to. We'll retweet it out all week because I think Seth did a great job previewing Michigan and everything that has to come with this weekend. So this will be your main Florida State Michigan preview. We might touch on it briefly on Sunday, but come Sunday, I'm going to be more nervous and worried and just ridiculous about everything because I'm just ready for this game. I'm so excited.
Ready for it to be rolling. Evan McCool, you get my shout out of the night. I don't have any other shout outs. Super jealous of what's in the background. Yeah, I moved I'm kind of an idiot. Like I used to do the pod from the other side of the table here. And so you'd see like my kitchen and stuff. And now like I have a really cool background with a bunch of bourbon and a nice painting that we probably spent too much money on. So, Evan, you get my shout out. If you guys aren't checking out Bourbon on a Budget, I do that podcast with Brendan Sonone of Knowles 247 and my buddy Ben Cock. Bourbon on a Budget. It's been a lot of fun, and we will be cracking something good on Sunday. Whether win, loss, or well, I guess you can't draw, but win, loss, or draw, we're cracking something good. How good it is will be determined on if we win or not, but it'll be something good either way. Richie, any shout outs and we'll get out of here.
No shout outs to this week. I'm saving them for Sunday or really the pop-up show, but I guess I'll shout out the wife. She doesn't watch any Alabama games, but now she's super excited that her team's in the Sweet 16.
Sounds like most Florida State basketball fans.
Yeah, right. So I can sympathize with her.
What song are we doing? I played the last one.
I'm saving mine for after we beat Michigan because you know what song I'm rolling with.
You have to do two then because I did the last one, so I'm not prepared.
All right, so they will find out afterwards. I'm going to find a song about being an underdog and thriving through it and winning it. So you'll hear it when this pod drops on iTunes.
Fighter by Carrie Underwood. So all right, I'm just
hey, go with it, roll with it. I don't care. Let's see what people say. I'm down.
That's hilarious. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Richie, have a great night, and I'll see you on Sunday.